Hello everyone, I'm Max, and today I'm here to maximize your fear. Brand new Bigfoot footage that's shocking the world. Today we take a look at new Bigfoot footage and sightings coming from Georgia, Poland, and many other places with very convincing evidence. From HD Sasquatch trail camera videos to Bigfoot hunting clips and so much more. Also stay tuned for a special and crazy nature clip at the end of this video. Trust me, you won't want to miss it. So grab your I Found Bigfoot coffee mugs and allow your fear to be maximized as we recap the best new Bigfoot clips. Here is a new Bigfoot video that captures some pretty clear evidence. The dark, ominous video shows a giant ape-like creature walking through the woods. It comes from a family who lives on a densely forested property. The father and his daughter and his son love to be outdoors and explore the nature surrounding. However, they've had their fair share of weird encounters in there. They've spotted what they described as unknown beings, and tonight was one of those nights. Take a look. In the dark woods, we see a dark creature. A shockingly tall primate-like creature that walks like a human. Even though the footage is dark, we can still tell this looks like a Bigfoot. It's covered in long, shaggy hair and it's wide and strong, but it walks really strange. It's like a human's gait, but not quite. Maybe like something trying to mimic a human. Now here I up the brightness and exposure to give us a better look at the creature. Check it out. Now I say it quite often, but most of these Bigfoot videos around the internet are pretty controversial. A lot of people believe and a lot of people don't. For instance, with this one, skeptics are saying it's a person in costume. But how could a costume be this large and this defined? I mean, the hair does look flush to its body. This would have to be a massive human inside of a costume. Also, the creature is estimated at around 8 feet tall. Someone would likely have to be on stilts to be this tall. But the creature actually walks pretty easily and quickly through the brush, something that would be very difficult while on stilts. And the family has seen other identified creatures in the forest there, which makes this footage even more compelling. So, as I often do, I'm going to leave this one up to you, the viewers, to decide. Somehow a person in costume, or is it the real deal? Let me know in the comments down below. Now usually when you think of Bigfoot, you think of America, because most of the sightings come from the forests around the country. However, many other countries around the world claim to have Bigfoot-like creature sightings as well. Pretty much every country has some kind of variation of the Sasquatch. For example, Australia has the Yowie and China has the Yeren or Wild Man. But today we're going to take a look at some rare footage coming from Poland, taken by a man who was out on some rugged terrain just hiking. This afternoon in 2009, he was out in a seemingly unexplored area. It was a rocky mountainous terrain, also surrounded by forest. But in this clearing is where he spotted the creature. It's a dark, upright creature, bent down slightly, walking through the rough terrain. Its arms look super long, especially when we freeze it here. It also has wide shoulders and thick, sturdy legs. While Poland isn't typically associated with Bigfoot in the way North America is, there are folkloric and modern accounts of large, hairy, humanoid creatures reported in the region, often tied to local myths or cryptid lore. In Polish folklore, there's the ancient figure of the Lesni Lud, which literally means forest people. They're wild, hairy forest dwellers believed to inhabit deep woodlands like the Białowieża forest. Legends describe them as large, human-shaped, hairy beings who avoided contact with people but would occasionally steal livestock or frighten travelers. And modern Bigfoot-like creature reports from Poland are rare but not non-existent. Several hikers and locals in the Carpathian stretch have recently spoken of seeing large, upright, hairy figures deep in the forests. Descriptions match Bigfoot's typical archetypes: 2 to 2.5 meters tall or 6 to 8 feet tall, broad-shouldered, and elusive. So it seems these Bigfoot sightings aren't just growing in the US and Canada alone, but also all around the world. So was this a newer sighting of the Sasquatch-like creature that is said to roam in Poland? A sighting that could finally prove its existence to the world? The following is some more Bigfoot evidence that doesn't come from the US. It's believed it comes from somewhere in Germany, but it remains rather mysterious. The exact location was unmentioned, the person who took the video was unmentioned, and when it occurred was also kept a secret. However, the footage speaks for itself. It's some pretty remarkable footage. It clearly shows a hairy, bipedal creature walking briskly through the forest. The filmer was completely shocked by the creature's presence and he froze in his tracks. The only thing he could think to do was to pull his camera out and record, for both his safety and to prove what he was seeing was real. The Sasquatch-like creature seems unbothered by the man's presence and just carries on like nothing. Analyzing the video a little bit, from what we can see, its fur seems to be flush to its body. It seems to be defined and attached to real working muscles and limbs, not like a costume which would likely be loose and hanging off the hoaxer's body. And also the man's reaction does seem very genuine. He seems to be actually terrified and fearing for his life. Now, Germany has a surprisingly deep-rooted history of wildman legends and forest-dwelling humanoid creatures, though it doesn't use the term Bigfoot. The country's rich medieval folklore and cryptid history contain eerie parallels to Bigfoot and other hairy hominid myths. In medieval German folklore, the wild man is a famous archetype. It's described as a large, hairy, humanoid figure living in dense forests or mountains in Germany. It's often covered head to toe in hair, sometimes wielding a club. It's portrayed in both positive and ominous roles, like a guardian spirit of the forest or a dangerous, unpredictable being. There are also legends that come specifically from the Black Forest. The Black Forest is known for deep, ancient woods and eerie folklore. It has old stories of hairy giants and wild men seen in the dense forests. Locals told of large, shaggy humanoids watching travelers, and even stealing livestock and occasionally kidnapping people. The description sounds a lot like the creature seen in the video, right? Well, let's go ahead and move back to the US for this next segment. The following convincing photographic evidence comes from a couple from Colorado, Jeff and Teresa Yellick. Jeff and Teresa are actually well-known Bigfoot researchers. They were involved with a group called Sasquatch Investigations of the Rockies, or SIR. The couple had reportedly spent many years exploring the wilderness of Colorado in search for Bigfoot. They searched high and wide all through northern and central Colorado. Throughout their journey, they did indeed find lots of evidence. For example, photos, audios, footprints, and more. But one of their most popular and widely talked about pieces of evidence was an image taken up in North Colorado. The image is so popular that it's dubbed the Yellick Bigfoot photo. Take a look. The picture was snapped from approximately 80 feet away. It shows what looks to be the face of a Bigfoot hiding behind some vegetation. It camouflages pretty well, so you might not see it very well at first, but once you see it, you can't unsee it. We see a defined human-like nose in the center, followed by one of its eyes open, peering at the photographers. We can see it has light grayish colored leathery skin and dark shaggy hair atop its head. The rest is blocked by the foliage, so we don't get a look at its mouth or the other features. But man, this is creepy enough. Jeff specifically recalls that he took the infamous image during one of their expeditions. Once he analyzed the photo and saw the creature peering at them, which actually went unnoticed when they were there in real time, he knew he had to go back to make sure this wasn't some kind of illusion. Like maybe tree branches or a tree stump or some kind of anomaly. And when he went back, sure enough, nothing was there. Proving that this was indeed a real living creature that was spying on them this day. He specifically called it a living entity, not an artifact from the environment. It was somehow able to stay so quiet and hidden that it went unnoticed by the Bigfoot researchers. But luckily, when they would go on all of their expeditions, they would take a bunch of pictures, just so they could make sure they wouldn't miss any evidence. And that's why we all got to see this photo today. Here is some more footage of Bigfoot's face. A lone hiker named Liam set out on an adventure in the deep backwoods of Georgia. He recalled parking on a secluded service road that practically no one went down. Then he entered the woods from there and hiked 2 miles back. As he trudged on, the forest got thicker and harder to navigate. It was around 7:30 p.m. when the woods suddenly went quiet, eerily silent, like all the wildlife was threatened by something. Startled, Liam looked around, and that's when he saw it.
That does really look like a face right there. That is kind of creepy. Hello? Is it moving at all or no?
As he looked through some trees, he saw what looked like a dark, hairy face or something, just sitting there still. The head is dome-shaped and seems to be hairy. And we can see what looks like a dark pair of eyes sitting in the middle of its face. Now, Liam was pretty familiar with the woods and would call himself an experienced outdoorsman. But this was something totally unfamiliar to him. Out of all his years of experience, he had never seen any kind of animal or anything at all for that matter that looked anything even close to this. He also recalled that the vibes were off, like something just felt weird out there. He thinks it was a sasquatch out there, not expecting any humans to be in this secluded area, and then it tried to remain as still as possible to avoid being seen. But what do you guys think? Do you agree with him? Let's go ahead and take a look at a newer game cam capture that may have captured a Bigfoot. Now, the photo is actually pretty clear, giving us some amazing up-close evidence. However, some aren't impressed by the evidence and claim that it's either AI or simply edited, and that it's too good to be true. But believers are calling out the skeptics, saying they can never be happy with any kind of evidence. They say how skeptics always talk about Bigfoot evidence being blurry and or shaky. But when some new clear evidence comes out, they immediately dismiss it as AI or edited. So once again, we have a pretty controversial capture on our hands. The first thing most notice about this one is the musculature. It's completely ripped. It has huge defined shoulder muscles, thick biceps, and from what we can see, a huge chest as well. Most Bigfoots are seen covered in hair from head to toe, but this one seems to be missing hair on its upper body only. Its legs look to have long hair on them, and even its face has long hair on it. But also take a look at the claws on this thing. It has a human-like hand with fingers tipped with razor blade-like claws. Zooming in on the face, it's dark, with a huge nose and a human-like mouth. If this is a real creature, this is definitely one you wouldn't want to encounter. I mean, this thing looks bulletproof. Boys Bigfoot on Instagram states, quote, "This picture has been making the rounds on social media. A game camera apparently captures a Bigfoot-like creature. What are your thoughts on this photo, real or fake?" End quote. And actually, I'm wondering the same thing. I would love to hear your opinions on this one in the comments section. A man named Stacy Brown Jr., a well-renowned cryptid enthusiast and film director, released some truly unsettling evidence taken by a trail camera. Once again, the trail camera that took this photo was a picture-taking trail cam that snaps pictures when the motion and heat requirements are met. With that being said, here is the photo. Cryptozoologists are adamant that this is a real Bigfoot caught on camera. Zooming in and looking closer, the strange creature does look monkey-like, but something seems off about its face. And latched onto it is what's said to be a baby sasquatch. The motion blur on the baby tells us that it was something alive because it was moving around. However, despite the label of a Bigfoot photo, some speculate that it could have been an escaped monkey from a nearby zoo or something. But why does its face look like that? Could it just be a deformed or injured monkey? If so, how did it get here in the first place, as this area does not inhabit any monkeys? It looks like we'll never know truly, but what do you guys think? Now, throughout this video, we've taken a look at all kinds of Bigfoot evidence. And as you may know, I like to end my videos with a crazy nature clip that kind of pertains to the topic of the video. And for today's video, I have a man getting chased by a giant creature, but it's one of the biggest known creatures in the world, the elephant. The brand new video just taken on June 4th, 2025 appears to be normal at first. Just a man named Kev Labalk riding his motorcycle down the road in Sri Lanka, a country in South Asia. But then, an 11,000-pound Sri Lankan elephant is seen in the middle of the road. He's forced to slam on his brakes as it's blocking his path. But what happens next will make your heart drop. He starts backing up as the elephant rushes towards him. He sprints away across the road and into the grass, being trailed by this giant elephant the entire time. Like something out of a nightmare, he falls down into the grass. But luckily, this is when the elephant ran away. It's unknown why it ran away. Maybe it was startled by the person beeping the horn on the road, we don't know. All we know is this man survived one of the closest encounters we've ever seen. Now, elephants are intelligent, social, and often gentle animals. But they're also incredibly powerful, capable of sudden aggression under certain circumstances. The estimated elephant-related deaths worldwide per year are around 500 or more, with 100 or more coming from Sri Lanka, where this encounter just took place. The crazy thing is, elephants can run up to 25 miles per hour. At those speeds, given their mass up to 14,000 pounds, you absolutely cannot outrun an elephant. For reference, Usain Bolt, the fastest human to ever live, could run a little over 27 miles per hour. A typical healthy adult man can max out around 12 to 15 miles per hour for a very short sprint of a few seconds. Whereas a professional sprinter could top out at speeds in the early to mid-20s. So if you're ever being charged by an elephant, just know that you most likely can't outrun it, unless you somehow get lucky like the guy in the video did. But this is an extremely rare event, and the chances that this would happen to you are unfathomably small. So don't worry too much. Alright, I think it's going to be it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed, and if you did enjoy, go ahead and smash the like buttons, mom. Let's aim for 5,000 likes for another one of these scary Bigfoot videos. And if you want to get to know me more, you want to see more of my spooky content, you can go ahead and follow me on Instagram, Maxwell Fear. You can go ahead and follow me on TikTok, Maximum Fear YT. And be sure to subscribe to the channel because only 20% of you guys who watch my videos are subscribed. And be sure to hit that bell as well so you don't miss when I upload. And also feel free to check out my special Maximum Fear merchandise and coffee mugs. They're in the description down below. And shout out to my second channel, More Maximum Fear, where I post other scary content that you guys would definitely love. Alright, I hope your fear was maximized. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.